Alright, g'day guys, and welcome back to our week 3 match of this Little Cup season. Apologies, this one is yet again a little bit late. Just got tied up and recorded this a couple of times. Didn't like the way the recording went. It sounded a bit meh. So we're back again. We're doing this again. We are playing MattOShea and his Montreal Milotics. Very strong battler, quite well known around the YouTube scene. And he's got a fairly scary team. Last season we lost 5-0 to him in our week 1 game. It was kind of embarrassing. He just ran through me. Hoping not to repeat that again to this week. He's a very strong battler though, so it will be quite an uphill battle. Now, getting into Matt's team, he has the team of Magnemite, Snivy, Mankey, Froakie, Alolan Meowth, Geodude, Bidoof, Noibat, Skorupi, and Ducklet. And first of all, I look at this team and I go, his normal resists consist of Geodude, and they consist of Magnemite. And so I see no normal immunities, and his 2 resists don't want to take a fighting type move. So our first mon that I built was Stuffle. And Stuffle here, if we take a look at its EVs, it hits, I'll try to bring that up so that you can see. There we go, look at that. So Stuffle is running a Adamant Nature with max attack, hits at 18, quite a nice number. Hits going with a bit of HP and Spadef, and then just the rest thrown into defense. So he hits the 11 speed tier. Stuffle's speed tier was a bit sort of this week. It running max speed, like a speed tie with Magnemite, and a couple other things. But then from there, he didn't really have any. He had sort of his 15 speed tier mons, and then he had like his slow stuff like Geodude, and a couple other things like that. So I didn't really think speed was necessary in Stuffle. Return and Brick Break put in a lot of work. Bulk Up's just there to sort of, if I get a chance to set up against something that's hitting me physically not very hard. Like we got that Fluffy, which makes us take a little bit less from physical attacks. He doesn't have his fire type, so we don't have to worry about the downside of that. And Protect to just scout for some, like maybe some coverage that hits Stuffle. I don't know, it was just there because I didn't really need anything other than dual stabs this week. Got the Life Orb to hit a bit harder. And yeah, so it was, the game plan here was just to sort of throw off returns, because either way, his switch-ins to that being the Geodude and the Magnemite, that broke their sturdies, and then you can just bop them with a Brick Break. So pretty simple plan here with Stuffle. Moving on next, we've got Kurt, Hippo, rocking the Eviolite with Sand Force, because I didn't want to really set double weather. We got Stealth Rock, Earthquake, Rock Slide, and Slack Off. This was really here as a Mankey check. It helped check things like Skorupi couldn't really do anything against us, Geodude couldn't really do anything against us. If you brought a physical Froakie, it could do a little bit, but not really too much. But this was just sort of here to soak up some hits. His Earthquake switch-ins were the Snivy and the Noibat and the Ducklet. Snivy, any chip on that thing was phenomenal because Snivy's always a problem. And the other 2 didn't really want to take any rock type moves. Rocks were nice this week, helps break 2 sturdies. It takes 25, does 25% to the Skorupi, to the Noibat, and to the Ducklet. So it was just here as sort of a physical wall. It said some nice things, and yeah, that's our Hippo. Next up, we have Alice with the Berry Juice here, rocking the Drought with Flame Charge, Energy Ball, Flamethrower, and Hidden Power Rock. Flame Fire coverage this week was quite nice. His resists were Froakie, Geodude, and Ducklet. I mean, Froakie really doesn't count as a resist. Like, that thing's never going to be run bulky. Or, well, it should never be run bulky because it's great offensively. The Flame Charge with the 17 speed let me speed tie with a lot of things, like some things like Froakie. It's speed tied with, I think Snivy hits that. and the Skorupi from memory. But getting a flame charge up on that lets us outspeed his whole team. Actually, I think Mankey as well. I think Mankey hits 17 speed. So, yeah, that was there to be able to come in, click something, scare something out, and then get a flame charge up on the switch. Energy Ball hit his fire resists, like the Froakie and the Geodude. It just mollywopped them. Flamethrower for stab, and then Hidden Power Rock for the Noibat and Ducklet. I was toying between Hidden Power Electric or Hidden Power Ice to hit one of them 4 times effective, but I settled on Hidden Power Rock because I was like, we'll hit them both super effective just the 2 times. And yeah, I mean, Rock hits Skorupi, but I don't know why I'd ever go for that over Flamethrower. But yeah, didn't really put much thought into that, and you'll see in the battle that may come back to bite us. So moving on, we're going with Seraph is our next member of the team. It's the Choice Scarf variant with U-Turn, Defog, Drill Peck, and Drill Run. He's flying resists Magnemite and Geodude. Common theme here, those two are his resists to 2 of our mons now. And we've got the Drill Run to be able to, blow Magnemite into next week and to be able to do some decent damage to Geodude. We also wanted to get rid of potential T-Spikes from the Skorupi because they hurt us quite a lot. It meant that Kurt being our check to a few things was no longer a check, and it just really was not great. So we kind of needed the defog, which meant Spearow had to come. Going into the next one, we have Meowth here, Silver, rocking the Life Orb with Technician, Fake Out, Feint, Hidden Power Ground, and Aerial Ace. Fake Out and Feint, same story with Stuffle. Only resist to those are Geodude, Magnemite, and Hidden Power Ground hits both of those quite nicely. And then the Aerial Ace for the Skorupi, which actually took the Fake Out and the Feint quite nice, and the Hidden Power Ground was neutral against it. So yeah, pretty standard set. Rocking the max speed, max attack, with a little bit thrown into special attack and HP this time, because we do unfortunately need to run 31 IVs for Hidden Power Ground in HP. Moving on next, we have Lileep making an appearance. We got the Eviolite with, I was going to run, probably should have run Storm Drain, but Suction Cups is there. I overlooked Ducklet a little bit in this. So we got Recover, Ancient Power, Earth Power, and Sludge Bomb. So Ancient Power, Earth Power covered a lot of his team, and Sludge Bomb was there solely for that Snivy, because that Snivy was a problem. Because at the moment, if you look at my team, like, my resist to Snivy include a Spearow and a Vulpix. Spearow does not count because, let's take a look, it has 31 base SPDF. So, with 40 base HP, so, I mean, I can't switch in and then take another Leaf Storm at +2 if that thing was scarfed. So this thing here checks Snivy quite nicely. It's running 140 SPDF EVs with Calm Nature and 220 in defense, getting a rock-friendly number of HP. And it was a nice blanket check to a lot of things. Obviously, the Mankey mollywops us, the Magnemite does a whole bunch, but I figured we had enough covers for those, and this could have sort of just throw off some hits. So let's get into the battle. And getting into the battle here, we will go. And looking at this team, he is bringing the Alolan Meowth, the Noibat, the Geodude, the Ducklet, the Mankey, and the Magnemite. So let's just get into this. I'm going to lead off with the Stuffle because I figure, like, what could go wrong? He leads Geodude, and this does a whopping 40% with the return. I didn't want to go for the Brick Break and trigger the Berry Juice as he gets up his rocks. Now, I'm going to go for the Brick Break, and as he brings in the Ducklet. And now, based off that damage, I know that that's an Eviolite Ducklet. And I thought about going for the Brick Break, but I didn't really want to lose my Stuffle as he goes back into his Geodude and gets his Berry Juice. And I'm like, okay, this thing probably can't do too much to me. I go for another return just in case he switches. And he goes for the EQ, and that actually does a fair bit. Does 64, and he switches into the ducklet on the brick break, and Stuffle goes down to life orb recoil. And then there's just a duck sitting here at 44%. We go into Meowth, and I'm just going to click the fake out as he goes into Geodude. That does still a respectable 20%, and it was a bit of a roll here as well. The HP ground killed. So, and especially now that I've gone for it, he might be thinking that's water, HP grass. So I'm going to switch out into Lileep here. Takes on this thing quite nicely as he goes for the Earthquake. That only does 36%. As he goes into his ducklet on my recover. And so, yeah, I'm just going to throw off an Ancient Power, not expecting the Toxic. A common theme here, Toxic is screwing us over in Little Cup. I need to prep for this a little bit more as we go for the Ancient Power, and that does not do as much. So this thing is actually a fully Spadef ducklet. He roosts, I Ancient Power. Not gonna lie, looking at this now, I realize that this ducklet is a problem for us. So I send in Spearow because I'm like, I need to hit this thing physically. Spearow is probably the least useful member of my team. It's a chance to defog my rocks away, which I do. As I go back into Hippo, as he goes into his Geodude to just set up the rocks, so that's a pointless turn of events. As he goes into Ducklet, as I just set up my own rocks, I'm like, well, if you're going to keep bringing this annoying little duck in, I'm going to make you take 25% from it. I go into Lileep, predicting the Toxic, not wanting both of my fat mons to be toxic, as he just starts air slashing, and I get flinched. And my plan here was, okay, well, I think I kind of just lose to a ducklet, so I'm going to pray for a bunch of Ancient Power boosts, maybe be able to hit this thing, like, more than just with a light breeze, and, yeah, hope for the best. Because looking at it, like, Lileep didn't really do much outside this ducklet. Like, yeah, it handled the Noibat alright, it handled the Alolan Meowth, but that thing gets plenty of coverage. We get flinched a couple of times, so Lileep is basically useless. I'm going to Kurt now, thinking, okay, like, yes, it's a water type. Yes, he's going to Toxic me, but I need to hit this thing with a physical, super effective move to have a chance. And Rock Slide only does 39%. And I'm like, oh, yeah, so I definitely do lose to this thing. I go into Vulpix to get the sun up, predicting a Roost. Just, like, look, I'm just switching around here at this point, trying not to lose to a duck. I've got the Hidden Power Rock. I'm like, maybe that does a little bit. No, but it does 30%. As he defogs, and I'm like, okay, well, I've seen all your moves now. I know that you don't have a water move. Maybe Energy Ball, predicting the Roost. No, but he's slower, and I should have known that. But yeah, so this battle is... Matt has done a very good job of bringing sets that just mollywop me here. As he goes for the Air Slash, that triggers my juice. I go into Meowth, I'm like, maybe if he goes for another Air Slash, I can live it, and then I can get some fake out damage. But no, he's smart. He's smart, and he goes for the Roost. I go for the Hidden Power Ground here, predicting the switch, and we get a kill, so we do not get 6-0'd by a ducklet. Meowth picking up the kill on the Geodude here. I go into Hippo on the Mankey because, well, this was my dedicated check to this thing. As you can see, it only does 40%. I would love to go for a Rock Slide here, predicting the switch, but it doesn't kill, so I had to go for the Earthquake from memory. Yeah, went for the Earthquake as this stupid duck thing comes out again. Just like to take a moment as this plays out to say that Scott, one of my good mates, and someone that does help me prep for most weeks, did say that ducklet's a problem. I looked up its stats, and I was like, that's a duck. It can't do much to me. And so, moral of the story is never discount anything that Scott says is going to be a problem, because he knows what he's doing. I'm now here hoping for a crit, just so I can get some differential points, because at this point, like, my Vulpix has used its juice. It's almost dead. My Stuffle and my Lileep are both gone. My Hippo's toxic. Like, I'm just playing for differential here. I do get a crit there, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. As he is smart and goes for the Toxic so that he can get another Roost off to kill before it kills me here, so the Toxic takes me out. But yeah, so, look, looking at this team, I'm like, well, what am I throwing out to die next? I'm like, maybe an uber mega fake out crit. That does 32%, and it leaves him at 40, and I'm like, Aerial Ace has like a minor chance to kill, and leaves him at 8%, which I'm guessing is about 2 HP, as he takes out my Meowth, and I'm like, I've got to go into Spearow because Hippo doesn't outspeed, and I'm like, I'm just going to click U-turn actually. I click U-turn, which was a smart play on my end, because that would have killed the Ducklet, and it gives me a switch. But Kurt is useless here. Noibat takes out my Hippo, and I just go into Spearow, and I'm like, well, Drill Prep crit? No, doesn't happen. Air Slash almost finishes me off, but he can just go into Magnemite and preserve differential at this point. Now that he knows I'm Scarfed, that does a whole 10%. Yeah. And this kills about 4 Spearows. So, moral of the story is I just got beaten 5-0 by Matt for the second time in 2 seasons. Yeah, so we are now 1-2. Not the best start to the season, but we have faced 2 very difficult opponents. Next week we are up against Joe and his Chippenham Chestnuts. Hopefully going to turn around. If we can bring it to 2-2, I think that's a pretty decent start considering who we've played. But yeah, that'll be everything from me. Tune in probably Monday or Tuesday for the next battle. I'm going to try and get this up a little bit closer to being on time over the next couple of weeks. Catch up to being like on time with these uploads, because this one is like a week and a half late. But yeah, anyway, I am out of here. See you guys.